Well, good afternoon. Good to have you on with us today. Hope you're having a great day. It's always a thrill for me to have you join us on these daily podcasts, well, soon to be podcasts, Facebook Lives. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. And Rosa and Jerry and Nativity and Nellie and many, many more. A little bit less in the afternoon sessions. Lisa, good to have you on with us today. Sandra, we appreciate it. Jane, we're going to have an interesting topic today. I think you'll find it interesting as we talk about a CDC study. Dale, Doris, you guys are great. Sandra, Amanda, nice to have you on with us today. Great. Jocelyn from Baxter, Diane. Okay. So I'll come on afterwards and say, hey, Madeleine, how are you? Nice to have you on with us this afternoon. I know many of you are not used to me in the afternoon here, Debbie, doing these lives, but we appreciate it. Karen, Shirley, maybe more out in the West Coast, and Donna. Okay, so this week we'll be doing afternoon sessions with you, okay? So Valerie, thanks for coming on and joining. Let me read you, Wendy, let me read to you Sherry and Wanda from Melbourne, Quebec. Nice to have you on. Let me read you the CDC, Iris and Lois. The CDC, here's the headline, and then I'm going to talk to you about what to do about this. But okay, so here's the CDC, the Center for Disease Control in the United States says routinely over 300 toxic chemicals are now found routinely in human blood samples. Over 300 toxic chemicals are now routinely found in blood samples. That comes from the CDC. And that's very alarming when you think about it. They can actually detect over 300 chemicals. We live, folks, in a toxic soup. And I've said it many a times, where are you going to go? From baby in the placenta, where mommy's chemicals that are floating around in her tissue and her bloodstream are even sent into the placenta. And it's one of the factors, I'm sure, of autism and why we see it today. But my headline is going to be, so that's CDC's headline. I am going to name this soon-to-be podcast the world's #1 Velcro. The world's #1 Velcro. So I'll get to that. But in the air, in the water, and in the soil are chemicals. You're not going to get away from it. I don't care if you live on a little island by yourself. You might have less chemicals there, but you're going to be surrounded by chemicals. 100,000 or more have been created since World War II. They're in the water, they're in the air, they're in the soil. And it's too bad in a way, but it's the world in which we live. We can try and clean it up as much as possible, but what I want to show you is what you can do since we live in a toxic soup. We're in a very toxic environment. What can we do? I think that's the most important thing. So from pesticides to herbicides to plastics to all sorts of heavy metals. We used to test heavy metals in the office, and mercury, lead, cadmium were like epidemics. And even children, massive amounts of lead and mercury, cadmium were found in their tissue upon testing. The old-fashioned way would to be do a hair analysis. Even today, I think there's still some good companies that do that. But I wasn't, to be honest with you, I wasn't as concerned about heavy metals as some people were, especially some of my colleagues. And I'm not minimizing heavy metals, of course. It's a big issue, but I was more interested on or in what to do about it. Just put it in your mind that if the CDC is saying that in routine blood tests, they're finding over 300 toxic chemicals, just put yourself in that category. But I want to give you good news today. The good news is that your body, in spite of all the chemicals that are around, if you do a few simple things, will make a huge difference as to the amount of toxicity in your body. Like I said, we do not live in a pristine environment. I don't think those days are ever going to come back, in my opinion. But that's not the point. Is what can you do as an individual? It's sort of like your immune system part B. You know, we think of the immune system, rightly so too, as looking, viruses and bacteria come in, and our body will adjust to that. One of the biggest bones that I have to pick with the world today is that when we're talking this virus that has brought us to our knees, very few people were talking about what your immune system could do if you just built it up. But anyways, you sort of have another filter. It's not really an immune system, but it is a filter that will take out the toxins out of your body if you only help it along. Now, the master Velcro, Velcro that sticks to these toxins, heavy metals, dioxin, and pesticides, and the herbicides, and in the air, water, and soil, the master Velcro that your body actually makes is called glutathione. Glutathione. Your body makes it. It's made in your liver. So I want you to follow this with me for a moment. Why is it today, never mind the chemicals, but why is it today that we make so little Velcro? We make so little glutathione. Most people are very low in this master antioxidant, because that's what glutathione is. It is an antioxidant, anti-rusting, anti-chemicals, anti-free radicals. It's an antioxidant that your body makes. Why is it that we have such low levels of glutathione? The reason, number one, much more than ever, the number one reason for low levels of glutathione, if follow me now, glutathione is made in your liver. The problem is we have a new scourge in our society today called fatty liver. As a matter of fact, it's called non-alcoholic fatty liver. Okay? NAFL. Non-alcoholic fatty liver. It has taken over liver disease, which used to be cirrhosis of the liver caused by alcohol. But today we have fatty liver, not caused by alcohol, but caused by sugars and carbs. One of the main reasons that we have such low levels of glutathione is because we are carboholics. And when you are a carboholic, you fill up your liver with fat. When you fill up your liver with fat, you do not produce the amount of glutathione that you need, especially in this day and age with all the toxic chemicals. And by the way, guess what type of tissue? So your liver makes glutathione. It makes the master detoxer. It is the Velcro of all Velcros. It flows through your bloodstream looking for things that don't belong in there. That's why I love glutathione. Okay, I love glutathione. But we're low in glutathione because we fill the liver with fat. And when you fill the liver with fat, you are not making the amount of glutathione. You're not making the Velcro that you need. Got it? You don't make the Velcro that you need. Therefore, those heavy metals stay in your system. They travel. They love, heavy metals, by the way, love to cross the blood-brain barrier and get into your brain. Your brain should be pristine. There should be nothing in your brain. But, and I've said this many a time, part of your blood-brain barrier, your blood-brain barrier is invisible. It's not like you can see it. It is so microscopic, but it's made up of bacteria. Good guys. Like your gut. Good guys. As long as you have enough good guys, those heavy metals will not get across into the brain. And especially if you have enough glutathione. And again, glutathione is something your body makes. But you see, one of the reasons that I created the reset, and you'll find this in the book, and by the way, we should have the book up for sale again. The #1 selling health book in Canada, okay, should be up for sale again very, very shortly. Look for an announcement about that. But the master detoxer, glutathione, is severely limited if you've got no room in your liver to make it. That's fatty liver. Your liver is like a suitcase. When it gets stuffed up with carbohydrates, it's fat. because carbohydrates are stored as fat. Sugars are stored as fat. Fat don't make you fat. Fat, when you eat fat, doesn't make you fat. It's not calories. So when you empty your liver of fat, remember, it only takes you 7 days, actually 6 days. In the first week of eating the reset, you will empty your liver. People, I know, I talked to you about this yesterday, people have this idea, weight loss, weight loss, weight loss, weight loss. And ladies, I get it. I understand it. Again, I'm on your side. I want you to lose weight if you want to lose weight. But you have to understand that when you're doing the reset was made to turn your insulin off and then to empty the liver, empty your liver. Why? Because you're going to make more glutathione. And glutathione is Velcro. Not only for heavy metals, not just for heavy metals, although yes, heavy metals and all those toxins, all the pesticides and herbicides and the 300 that the CDC says that we have routinely in our blood work, but it also goes after cancer. Glutathione is a master at going after cancer cells. Cancer cells. Glutathione, your body makes it, fearfully and wonderfully made your body. Help it, guys, help it. Increase your Velcro. Increase your Velcro so that it sticks. Glutathione sticks to bad things and takes it out of your body. What a master antioxidant. So you're elevating your levels of glutathione, okay? Now, another thing that gums up and lowers your glutathione levels is PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids, seed oils, middle aisles of your grocery stores. Why do you think packages last long? You can put cookies up in your shelf, in your cupboard, and they'll last for months and months and months and months. Well, how did they make that? You make cookies in your oven and put them in your cupboard and forget about them. You're not going to be, after a week or two, you ain't eating those cookies, man. You see, these hydrogenated oils, these PUFAs, P-U-F-A, polyunsaturated fatty acids, are man-made. One of the things they do is preserve food. They're found in packaged goods. They make cookies last forever and crackers and blah, blah, blah. But they're not good for glutathione. They gum up that liver. They gum that liver up. Okay, so you want to empty the liver. So let me give you a few ways that you can empty the liver. We talked about the diet. Cut out the crappy carbs and the crappy oils and the sugars. Aim at your liver, guys. I don't know if there's any organ more important in your body than your liver. You can't live without a liver. Now, I'll tell you what's beautiful about a liver. You can cut it in half and you'll regenerate that liver. Because you need it, man. You need your liver. 600 things happen in the liver. Your liver works the night shift, along with your glymphatic system in your brain. But your liver, you see, you go to bed and sleep at night, and all the other organs are sleeping. Your heart is put into a restful, it's not that it's not working, but it's gone into airplane mode. It's not getting any data. It's resting. Your brain is resting, but you've got I've talked to you in the past about glymphatics. They go in and do repair at night. Well, your liver repairs at night. Tony Jr. just wrote an email, I hope you get our emails, about some of the benefits of fasting. Fasting is good for you. You see, the reset is fasting without fasting. But you're emptying your liver. It's one of the things, give yourself a fair amount of time without eating, and that helps. Here's another one, vitamin E. Exercise. Do you know that exercise elevates your glutathione? Exercise elevates your glutathione. Is there anything negative about exercise? Yeah, not much. Exercise is so good for you. Vitamin E on the Martin Clinic hit parade of vitamins. Vitamin E, the real vitamin E is exercise. It's so important because it does everything that it's all beneficial. Move. We don't move. You know what was stupid? Can I tell you something that was stupid on a little rant? Can I tell you something that was stupid? You could go to KFC and McDonald's, but you couldn't go to your gym. Ooh, that made me mad. That made me so angry. How stupid. It's not science when they tell you you can't go to the gym, but you can go to McDonald's and you can go to KFC and eat your fast foods with PUFAs. Ooh, that made me upset. Can you see my blood pressure rising? So vitamin E. Diet, key. Even fasting helps. Add a master antioxidant, pine bark extract. Pine bark extract. Why do we love it at the Martin Clinic? We talk about it all the time, because it elevates, it elevates your nitric oxide. That means opens your blood vessels, better for blood supply, better for your blood pressure, cross the blood-brain barrier. But here's what it does. It elevates your glutathione. It's an antioxidant that helps another antioxidant, glutathione, to go up. That's why we love it. It's a very important pine bark extract. I love pine bark extract. Okay? Curcumin. That's spice, curcumin. Now turmeric, the problem with turmeric, it's poorly absorbed. The extract of turmeric is curcumin. And curcumin is very good to elevate your glutathione. This is why if I have cancer patients, I'm telling them, listen, make sure you're taking lots of curcumin, man, because it elevates your glutathione. Important hormone. A very important antioxidant. Okay? Now, let me say something else that's really important. When you get heavy metals in the body, one of the ways that heavy metals travel, by the way, is through yeast. Leaky gut. Remember? Good guys, good bacteria, bad bacteria, a balance. You need to have lots of good guys. You don't want to be overwhelmed with bad guys, because if you get overwhelmed with bad guys and you don't have enough good bacteria called your microbiome, what happens is a yeast, the third army invades. You know what yeast does? Yeast, it makes things rise. It makes your bread rise. And that's all right if you're making bread. But yeast inside the body it's a growth thing. It is a fungus. It's a bad weed. And it will travel through the bloodstream by the method of leaky gut, gets into your bloodstream, and yeast will carry with it heavy metals, those 300 toxic substances that are found routinely in the blood. And one of the ways they travel, especially up to the brain, I've said this to you in the past, and because somebody even the other day was asking me about Parkinson's. Dr. Martin, what do you think about Parkinson's? Well, Parkinson's, first of all, is a leaky gut thing. It starts in the gut. Leaky gut, leaky brain. But what they found on autopsy in Parkinson's patients is a major yeast. It's a fungal infection around the brain. It got into the brain tissue, carried, because I remember even with Parkinson's patients in the office, many of them, when I was testing heavy metal, they had massive amounts of mercury and lead and cadmium. Those are the three main ones that got up into that was up in their brain. This is, I would see it in tissue samples, but this is recorded facts, guys. When it comes to Parkinson's and the brain, on autopsy, they see a major yeast infection. And guys, yeast, yes, it will travel into, it's not supposed to get into the bloodstream. It can only get into the bloodstream in the presence of leaky gut. And leaky gut occurs when you wipe out your good army, and you wipe out your good army when you are, even things that can save your life, like an antibiotic. They strip away all your good bacteria. Within 5 days, all your good guys are gone. Well, yeast will take off. If you don't change your microbiome, it will travel. And yeast gets into the brain, and it's not fun. And again, we see so much more Parkinson's today. Incredible. It's fungal. It's fungal because yeast is a carrier of heavy metal. It brings the bad guys with them. And guess how you feed yeast? Yeast needs to eat. It'll call your name every day. It wants sugar. It wants sugar. It wants sugar. And someone was saying, I think I saw it scroll up, talked about using a protein powder like whey protein. Yeah, if you can take whey, a lot of people can't take whey, but whey will elevate your levels of glutathione. I like protein powder. I recommend more the bone broth because it's something that 99.9% well, or more can take. Whey, there's a lot of people have trouble with whey. But that's all right, I like it. If you can digest it, it's very good for you. I like it too, okay? So, get your master detoxer, elevate your Velcro, the #1 Velcro, in your body makes it. Empty your liver, vitamin E, pine bark extract. Don't feed the bears, don't feed yeast. That's how heavy metals travel throughout your body. Okay? Okay, great. So again, this week, a couple of little announcements. Afternoon sessions. And Friday will be question and answer. Okay? And we're going to make an announcement about the book in the next few days. Again, okay? And we thank you for all your support. If you want get your friends, get your family, people that you influence, get them on the private Facebook group, our private, what a community of folks in there that are so good. It's so much good information in the private Facebook group. Okay, love you guys. Talk to you soon.